Hello, my name is Dr. Matthew Morrison, and I am your instructor for ELE 385 Advanced Digital Systems this semester. This video is for the 2 extra credit assignments that you have to have done before the beginning of the first lecture, so that's on Tuesday. So you're going to receive an email right after I upload this to YouTube. I will provide you the link in a video. What I do is I always send them through the announcements, and you will have the lecture video and the specific topical guide objectives and example questions and ILS labs that are due on that particular date that we covered. So the purpose of this is to explain the reason that I teach the course the way that I do, to go over the syllabus, and so that there's no confusion. I tend to teach courses very different than you're used to, which is fine. My objective is to improve student understanding, student retention, and to provide you with better study habits so that way you do better in courses in the future beyond just my class. So this is the typical layout. If you go into content, you will see that there's syllabus, TGOs, which I'll explain, those are topical guide objectives, and there'll be more information here for a while, but I also have some professional development and reference files. The professional development contains files that teach you how to write a resume, write a sample cover letter, and specifically power verbs for effective resumes, which we'll go over in a lot more detail later on in this course. And reference files are additional material beyond what I normally teach you in the course, so that way if you're interested in more materials, such as, for example, remembered in your Principles of Digital Systems course, you learned about Mealy and Moore machines. Well, I provided you the exact sources of those papers where Mealy and Moore introduced those concepts, so you can actually read them in more detail and learn that, and if that's something that interests you. Also, we'll be going over MIPS, which is multiple interlocking without pipelining stages. It's a microprocessor architecture that we will cover in this course. So I have already opened the syllabus. The 10 questions that we will be going over here are the ones that I will be covering in this, the 9 that we'll be covering in this lecture. And additionally, you will have an opportunity to write a professional email to me. So last year, I started asking students to write professional emails in a way that improved their correspondence to their instructors and to their bosses. What I found was that the professors in my department and other professors, students were actually using this format, and they were going, wow, these sophomores really know how to write, do professional letters. It sticks out like a sore thumb. So what I want to do is briefly teach you how to write a professional email in a way that makes you, look good to bosses, look good to your, instructors, so that way, you put your best foot forward. So the first 5 points, I want you to send an email to me prior to the first day of class. So that's, Tuesday, the 22nd at 9:30. So that's due before then. I want you to send this. This is my email, morrison@olemiss.edu. And first, you write a salutation. So you want to find their salutation. In my case, I have a PhD, so I'm Dr. Morrison. This is really important because a lot of times people take great pride in what they've earned. In my case, I'm pretty laid back. I'm, don't really insist that people call me doctor. Other people are. And furthermore, in cases, you'll see that women who have attained a PhD, you'll see a male and a female who have attained a PhD and a student who will be talking to them, and they'll say Dr. So-and-so, and then turn to the woman and say Mrs. So-and-so, and you can see the woman get really upset. It's disrespectful and sexist. So you will really stick out if you actually do the research to find their salutation. So what I want you to do is I want you to say Dr. Morrison, and then in this case, it's a simple email. I am writing this email to confirm that I've received your email and that I've reviewed the syllabus for your course. Now, this is something you'll see very much, especially if you work in a government job. People who are lower ranked in the military will write very respectfully to their superior, and then they say their first and last name. You can put your electrical engineering student at the University of Mississippi and put your email here at the bottom. So in that case, if I was Morrison, I would just spell Morrison at go.olemiss.edu. This way, you have indicated your professional standing, where you're going to school, and a piece of contact information. When you're writing to me during the course of the semester, I want you to write emails like this. It's a good habit, and it will make you look good as you proceed in your career. You'll receive 5 points. I will send a professional email to you back, so that way we indicate that we have a professional relationship, and it's not just something where I'm a professor and I look down on you. Instead, you will look good, and if we do this to other professors, they will very much appreciate it. So we want to go over these 9 questions. So I have brought up, the syllabus is located here. If you click on it, I have already brought this up for you. This is a good rule of thumb for the future. A lot of times you'll see your professors get annoyed when they ask you questions that are in the syllabus. This is something from a website called PhD Comics. What did we cover in class last week? It's in the syllabus. What's the late homework policy? It's in the syllabus. What are your office hours? It's in the syllabus. How might grade be computed? It's in the syllabus. Most things are in the syllabus. So if you take just 30 seconds to review the questions that I've gone over, this will save you a lot of time, and you don't have to come and ask me questions, because you don't want to come to my office unless you absolutely have to. I don't have to answer questions that I've already answered in the syllabus. So let's start out and discuss this course. So question 1 is, what are my email, office number, and office hours? So here's my email, morrison@go.olemiss.edu. Our course is going to be held in Bishop 101, 9:30 a.m. to 10:45 a.m. Tuesday and Thursday. My office hours are 2 to 3 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So my email is morrison@go.olemiss.edu. My office number is Anderson310, and my office hours are Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 2 to 3. Also worthy of note, other times can be arranged by appointment. So if you have a class or you have a job that's from 2 to 3 p.m. on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and you really need to reach me, you are permitted and encouraged to send me an email and say, Dr. Morrison, I can't make this time. I here are a set of proposed times for which I can go, and then I can pick that time. If you just tell me I can't make your office hours and then don't give me a set of proposed times, well, I don't know your schedule and I don't have access to it. So as a result, I'm just going to keep picking times until you don't. It's a frustrating process. Propose a set of times, and then I will tell you which one is best for me. Additionally, we have a teaching assistant, Mr. George Humphrey. He's my PhD student. Here's his email address. His office is across the hall from mine, and these are his office hours. The course textbook is going to be Computer Organization and Design, the Hardware Software Interface. It's a very common textbook, and a lot of the questions are used throughout the course. Not only throughout the course, but what I really want to point out is that they are used in job interviews. So keeping this textbook and referring to it will really help you, not just in my course, but as you're trying to get the best possible job. So TGO number 2 is state the grading percentage breakdown. So this is number 2. It's your conventional 90, 80, 70, 60. Test 1 and Test 2 and the final exam are 20% each. I give quizzes, which I will discuss later in this video. Topical guide objectives are 15%, and the Internet Learning Service courses labs provided by Cadence Design Systems are 15% of the course. Also worth noting, this is a reason why it's good to read the syllabus. Upward grade adjustments are possible depending on average and distribution of final class averages for all students in the class at the professor's discretion. Upward grade adjustments mean that if you have like an 88%, I can move that up from a B to either a B plus or an A. I may not move it down because I've specifically limited it to upward grade adjustments in my syllabus. Oftentimes in law school, they are permitted to do downward grade adjustments. So it's very important that you read what the professors write in the syllabi. So we will go over this in more detail, but I have put here things that you can put in your resume that will improve your description of your technical skills. So we're going to be talking a lot about how to build a resume, how to apply for jobs in this course. You can go over this in more detail, but the whole point of putting the ABET, Accreditation Board of Engineering Technology Objectives, is to dictate how we are constructing the course in order to ensure that the certification of your degree meets the standards. So in this case, an ability to apply knowledge of mathematics and science and engineering, ability to design a system, component, or process to meet desired needs within realistic constraints, an ability to identify, formulate, and solve engineering problems, ability to communicate effectively, a recognition of the need for and ability to engage in lifelong learning, a knowledge of contemporary issues, an ability to use the techniques, skills, and modern engineering tools necessary for the engineering practice. So course policies. Absences from class require appropriate written documentation. I cannot emphasize this enough. Attendance in class is really important. I will reward the students who show up to class every day. If you're a student who skips a lot, well, you should not expect to get as good of a grade as a student who shows up. That's just fair to the students who are here. So number 3, state the YouTube website where all the lectures will be posted. So this is the answer to number 3 right here. This link, youtube.com/user/Ole Miss VLSI. VLSI stands for Very Large Scale Integration, and we'll discuss that in this course. Something that's very important to note, and this is the answer to number 4. I'm sorry, not quite. This is the answer to number 4 here. But this is to supplement your class notes for those who struggle keeping up during regular lecture, not as replacement. They will also be very helpful in doing the topical guide objectives and studying for exams. Number 4, so this is the answer to number 4 right here. I do not post the PDF notes themselves to Blackboard. I found this approach maximizes student understanding while minimizing instances of academic dishonesty. In short, a lot of times students who don't show up, they don't go to class, but then they go to their classmate who goes all the time, like, hey, give me the notes, give me the notes, give me the notes, right? I want to encourage the students who show up and actually do the work. So if you don't come to class regularly, you're going to really struggle in my course. So number 5, what does Topical Guide Objectives stand for? What do our TGOs do? And what should you do if you can't make it to class on time? Now, TGO stands for Topical Guide Objectives. They are due at the beginning of every class. Basically, they're a review of all the course material. They are due at the beginning of class, period. Now, if you can't make it to class, and this is the last part of number 5, you should send me an email. You all have smartphones now. You can send me emails. This policy here, I do not accept late homework without a valid excuse. If I've started a lecture, please do not turn in your homework until I've completed the lecture. That's a pet peeve of mine. I do not like it when I'm interrupted. So if you're late to class, what do? Send me an email before class indicating why you're late. I'll review it at the end of lecture, and if you have your homework assignment done, we will discuss. Part of the reason is I don't want students doing their previous homework assignment during this next lecture. I want to reward the students who are coming to class and getting it done on time. Next, I want to ensure that I'm fair. Things happen, life happens. For example, if you're married and your spouse is sick and you absolutely need to drive them to the hospital, I understand that. As long as you let me know in advance, it's fine. If the bus breaks down, I need to know these things. Just one thing, if you've ever seen the Chappelle Show sketch, don't be a habitual line stepper. If you get to the point where I'm getting emails from you all the time, I'm going to eventually call you out on it. Remember, I'm going to reward the students who work hard. So, what is the course, number 6, what is the course policy regarding submission of TGOs? They are to be handwritten. So everything from, let me delete this, from here. So number 6 is everything from here until here. So failure to earn a 70% average on TGOs would earn an automatic D or worse in the course regardless of exam performance. As you'll discover, it's pretty hard to not get above an 85% if you're just doing the regular assignments. I've only had one student who's ever had below an 85%, and that was a student who I eventually discussed it with several times to ensure that they actually got to class. I've never had to implement this policy, and I anticipate I won't have to this semester either, judging by what I've been told about your group from Dr. Gordon. So in the number 7, in the TGO policy, I describe 4 reasons why I do homework this way. State them. So if you go back to content in the Topical Guide Objectives, I also have a TGO policy where basically I reiterate everything I've discussed before. In this case, I've already opened it for you, and the answer to number 7 is here. 4 reasons I do homework this way. Number 1, the method is augmented from U.S. Naval Nuclear Power School, which I attended in year 2000. The purpose is to teach organization and proper study habits for success beyond graduation. Number 2, I insist on handwritten because there's a clear correlation between professors insisting on written assignments and improved final grades. I cannot emphasize this enough. Ultimately, I'm doing this so that way your grades are higher. Every year I've done this, the grades are often between 15 and 20% higher just by insisting on written assignments. Number 3, insisting on handwritten assignments mitigates cheating, specifically academic bullying. Now, this academic bullying, I'll discuss this again in a moment, but what I mean is kind of what I alluded to earlier, where students don't go to class and they kind of coerce students who do go to class into basically doing the work for them. I'm very insistent on this. You will come to class, you will do your work, and you will earn your grade. You will not have other people earn their grade for you. And number 4, and this is something that you'll really appreciate other than the increased grade here, this will permit me to see who's putting in effort, so I may reward your work appropriately. And this is something you will hear me say a lot. I will always reward effort. If you're working very hard in my course, you'll be fine. If you're working hard in my course, you'll be fine. And I can tell. If you're being lazy, you'll struggle, and I'll tell you. I'll be straightforward with you, but it's ultimately because I've had a lot of students who are lazy initially, and I called them out on it when they came to me and wondering where they're struggling. And their effort improved a lot during the second half of the semester, and their grades went up. So ultimately, I want you to succeed beyond what you're doing in my course. So I think quizzes, I will give 4 quizzes during the course of the semester. They are unannounced, and 50% of the quiz grade will account for your attendance. What that means is that if you show up and you're in class, you automatically get 50 out of 100. So the purpose of the quiz is to give you a pressured environment where you can be honest with yourself as to the actual progress in your learning material. And it should be noted here that because of the 50%, you're given a buffer. So you get an opportunity to review, be honest with yourself about your information. It doesn't have that much of an impact on your grade, and you're rewarded for showing up and coming to class. And there will be 3 exams. The exams in this course are designed to simulate the job application process. So there's 2 parts. There's a take-home where we will go over how to write a resume. I'll provide a video for you, and we'll go over it in lecture for a specific job listing that you'll be qualified for upon completion of this course. You'll create a LinkedIn page, and we'll discuss how to use the job to prepare for the listing. This job listing will be posted from a posting currently available, and you'll be preparing for your resume for that job. So part of it, the first 20 points, is preparing your resume for that position. Then you will complete a set of questions, so this will be a take-home portion of the exam, from your notes that are meant to simulate preparing for the job interview. So 2 benefits to this approach. 1, I actually can quantify how hard you studied in the exam. And 2nd, you're actually practicing reviewing the concepts so that way you can actually do well in class. So the in-class is a closed book, closed notes examination which simulates a job interview. You're taking the concepts that you went over here and combining them in the in-class portion, just like you'll be doing in a job interview. So I have one other thing, and this is important. Regrade policy. Students may not request a regrade or a fix in the addition until 24 hours after the exam is returned. This is to ensure the student is calm upon speaking to the grader. So in this case, the reason why I had a student actually follow me home enraged because of a 5-point difference in interpretation on the exam. And the student eventually had to be asked to leave the department because you can't stalk professors. This is something to remember. If I graded it wrong today, it will still be graded wrong tomorrow. It's fine. So we'll discuss this in more detail with the Cadence Internet Learning Services, you will actually have an opportunity to work with a company called Cadence Design Systems, which is the world's largest design automation company. And this portion will follow a flipped course model. So the first 2/3 of the course will be regular instruction, and the last third is flipped course, and you'll complete models provided by the company and you will actually have the opportunity to earn badges, which will go onto your LinkedIn profile. So we will just go over this in more detail. So here are your relevant fall class dates. This is from the basically from the registrar's office plus when the exams will be. So and this is things that will help you. This is when the Thanksgiving is. One other thing, I have the final exam on the last Tuesday of the regular semester, and on Thursday, November 30th, I will have a pizza party and I will return your grades to you. I'll have a printout indicating exactly what your grade is, and I'll be honest with you, I'm a professor that I ask my students to work pretty hard. That's what comes back on my teacher evaluations. But I want you all to succeed, and the pizza party is my way of acknowledging that, yes, I've asked you to work really hard, but I respect you as men and women, and that this ultimately will help you long term. So the other thing is, because I have the printout, I'll be able to look you square in the eyes and tell you exactly what your grade is. And I think consider that's very important for something for a professor to do. So this is the layout of the course schedule, and this is what each exam will cover during each portion of the course. So I lay out precisely what the exams will cover. I probably need to delete that. Just I'll update the syllabus. This is what should be here. The final exam is not cumulative, so don't worry about it. A grade of incomplete will only be given for a personal or family emergency. Religious observances, we will observing all university policies regarding religious holidays and disabilities. You have to discuss any coursework that you have to miss due to a religious observance by the second week of class. If you haven't done that, you need to do it before then. So if you are a student with a disability, you're probably familiar with the Memorandum of Accommodations. If you're not, you don't have to worry about it. Academic integrity. You can see that this is something I take seriously because I have almost 2 pages on the syllabus dedicated to it. So as aspiring computing professionals, you are to approach academic integrity with the utmost sincerity. We have a responsibility to society to perform good, honest work. The public places their trust and well-being in you every time you do work. If you cheat, you have demonstrated that you are incapable and/or unwilling to meet this standard, and I will act accordingly. Your commitment to integrity, I want you to remember this more than anything else. Your commitment to integrity is every bit as important, if not more so, than the grade you earn on your transcript. So I discuss in tremendous detail down here what plagiarism is, using someone else's work, knowingly allow someone else to represent your work as his or her own, gaining or attempting to gain an unfair advantage. I refer to this quite a bit as academic bullying, giving false information or altering documents, and disruptive behavior, meaning you can't shout me down in class. So this is the answer to number 8. Statement policy regarding academic dishonesty. Incident number 1. Any incident of cheating on a homework assignment or quiz. I will require you to write a 1-page write-up on an engineering incident where failure to uphold ethical principles resulted in catastrophe and an automatic reduction of 1 letter grade on the assignment. This essay must be in your own words. Do not plagiarize a essay on plagiarism. That has happened before, and that led to incident 2. Plagiarism on that essay will result in incident 2. Incident 2, you will receive an automatic grade of F in the course and academic probation. If you have a previous incident of academic dishonesty on your record during your academic career, I will automatically assign a grade of F on your first incident this semester, meaning that if you are in the system having an incident already, you will go straight to incident number 2, and we're just going to give you an F. Okay, so the last problem we're going to discuss here on this homework assignment is my professional web page. So This is my professional webpage, sites.google.com/site/Ole Miss VLSI. I have an updated record of all my publications and funding and education, honors and awards, etc. The key thing that you care about is my research and teaching mission statements. So these are my 2 teaching mission statements here. And this is the answer to number 9. So my teaching mission statement is to develop computer engineering students academically, creatively, and morally, and to engender ideals of integrity, professionalism, and lifelong learning and teaching in order to graduate engineers who are dedicated to a career of utilizing the principles of science for humanity's benefit. My teaching vision statement is to develop one of the best computer engineering programs in the world by imbuing students with world-class study habits by combining Navy teaching methods, here's your TGOs, with modern engineering tools. So this is where ILS. So that's the answer to number 9. So one last thing I want you to go over is here I have links for students, and these are 6 things that are very useful for you as you move on, not just in school, but in your professional career. So the BSEE advising sheets, I actually have the list here of your course that you need to graduate in ELE for your advanced engineers. For Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering with an emphasis in computer engineering, you may also follow this one. So that way you have that available to you so you can be prepared before you go into advising appointments. Second one is professional organizations. So professional organizations, these are the professional organizations that tend to serve computer and electrical engineers. Association of Computing Machinery, Computing Research Association, the IEEE, the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, Tau Beta Pi, which is the Engineering Honor Society, and the Society of Women's Engineers. And you can go to these pages. For example, if you click on the SWE page, you can actually find places to look for scholarships, awards, opportunities that will help you out. And the IEEE and all of them have the same things. So job search websites for electrical and computer engineers. The Association for Computing Machinery Career and Job Center. You can go here and it has a lot of different job opportunities. Well, the link's not up to date. I'll up-to-date the link. But the Computing Research Association /jobs, this is an opportunity to find places where there are jobs for you to look up. And there's plenty of listings for students, for researchers, diversity, for those of you in underrepresented groups, for women and minorities in our field. So you can find these opportunities to find jobs. And IEEE jobs and engineering.com has opportunities. Job links for specific companies. So a lot of times these links don't link up with the actual job companies. So this is a list of a number of different companies that serve computer and electrical engineers. Some companies that are U.S. defense contractors may require U.S. citizenship or the ability to obtain a security clearance. And I have listed those companies here, but you have a long list of places where you can actually look up companies that are interested in hiring students with your degree. Graduate fellowship programs. This is another thing because there's a NASA one that recently came out that I want to update. But if you're eventually interested in graduate school, you can go to these links and look up the graduate fellowship program. And I believe that there are a couple veterans who have served our armed forces in class this semester. And you may go here for the Ole Miss Veterans Fairs, which you're probably familiar with. That's the registrar's office. And then from here, there's a career for veterans at Intel support military service skills. So basically what this is doing is if you're, this helps quite a bit with converting back into society as a civilian. And this will help you out quite a bit with resume preparation and how you actually translate your military skill set into civilian resumes. So that is the end of this video. Please send me the email and I will respond to you in kind, and please fill out those 9 problems. That assignment, as I will indicate in the message I'm about to send to you. So what you're going to see is that I'm going to post under my announcements. You'll receive an email from me. I'll indicate that the assignment must be handwritten. And from there, at the end, I just close out the debut, and I will see you on Tuesday. Best of luck.